This is the foundation. Stories from people who build things, products, services, businesses, how they started, what they're doing now, and where they're going.
Well, I'd say good morning, but I think you're in Dallas now, Shannon. So that would be sort of mid-afternoon. Is that true on Monday?
Still morning, David, for another 28 minutes. So we haven't quite hopped over noon yet.
Okay, good. Well, hopefully the stomach doesn't start growling at all. I appreciate you taking the time today as I was looking at STARC Systems and trying to get myself a little bit more aware. I really landed on the airborne infection isolation rooms and the fact that the acronym is pretty appropriate. It's probably pronounced AIR in the context of what you do for STARC. So I will start with that conversation and ask you, what is the foundation of STARC Systems?
Yeah, great place to start, David, and thanks for the opportunity today. We've been really looking forward to this. So, Stark Systems is a 12-year-old company that was founded by a third generation contractor in the Portland, Maine metro area that specialized in renovations in healthcare facilities, the most sensitive environments imaginable to do large scale renovations. And the idea was born from, him having to essentially there's a method in construction in renovation projects like that where you have to actually put up a temporary barrier. And for 100 years, the temporary barrier that was used was drywall, more specifically single-use drywall, in order to block off folks that may be receiving care, workers that are giving care in those facilities from the construction zone. A temporary barrier has to be put up. Well, in single-use drywall, it's dirty, it's dusty, it's labor intensive. The economics are not great for contractors, and the idea came to our founder that there's got to be a better way of doing this. And he went and literally designed and sketched a reusable wall system that ended up becoming our flagship product. It's a telescoping product. That's actually the T in Stark. Telescoping is actually the T in Stark. And he met with a design engineer who became our employee number one, who recently retired from the company after 12 years. And they designed our flagship product, RealWall. And RealWall is really now widely regarded as the gold standard in temporary barriers in healthcare constructions. If you don't mind me digging a little bit deeper into that.
Please do.
So contractors are required to adhere to a standard called ICRA. ICRA stands for Infection Control Risk Assessment. And it's a standard that contractors are held to whenever they put up a temporary barrier. It's a very rigid requirement for them to make sure that, again, those that are either giving care or receiving care are kept safe in a healthcare renovation. Our products are designed for that specific standard in mind, along with incredible aesthetics, and then the reusability factor. David, the idea of our products, you can buy them once, you can redeploy them 50 times, and the economics of adoption of a modular product like ours, the economics are just fantastic. So fast forward 12 years later, and like I said, we're considered the gold standard in temporary barriers in healthcare construction. So
As soon as you talked about drywall being used as a temporary barrier, we've all seen the pictures or we've been to places, construction, where they use a plastic visqueen, and that's definitely a temporary one. It might not be a barrier. How does Stark Systems telescoping real walls easily become assembled and disassembled and then presumably stored?
yeah, you bet. So the genesis of our product was really with the contractor in mind. That's the best part about having a contractor actually as the founder
Sure.
of the company. We design them. A lot of people don't realize this, David. Our products are actually 100% self-deployed. They are built with the contractor in mind. They're very intuitive. Out of the box, they're able to be assembled easily, put up, taken down, and stored. We actually provide a custom cart that our products come on, so a contractor can simply wheel them out, deploy the products. We say about 100 feet in an hour is really kind of the baseline that we use when we talk to potentially new contractors wanting to deploy our products. So where 100-foot wall, may take days for a contractor to frame and do sheetrock and finish, depending on, whatever the level of finish is. Our products, we can deploy, contractors, can deploy 100 feet in an hour, take them down in less time, restore them, until that next deployment. A lot of times, David, what you'll find is contractors, especially when they're doing a project in a healthcare environment, and we can go on into the other environments that we're in, aviation and data centers and hospitality and retail, et cetera. A lot of times you're looking at a multi-phased project, right? Especially in healthcare applications. So from the first floor to the second floor to the third floor. So our products, a lot of times they stay on the move. They don't get stored for very long. They just stay on the move from one project to the next, to the next, to the next, a lot of times in the same facility. Our founder loves to tell a great story. Maine Med is the primary healthcare facility, the largest healthcare facility in Portland. He's had a team there for 26 years straight at the speed
At
and
the facility?
at the same facility,
Wow.
right? Hospitals, like airports, are just constantly under construction. The changes in technology, population movement, they just constantly have to be retrofitted to meet whatever new technology or people support that they need to, that they need to do at the times. A contractor with our product, there's a good chance it's never going to leave that facility, and it's just going to get redeployed over and over and over again. So,
Well,
yeah,
when they get
interesting story.
when they get redeployed, I assume that because it's part of the infectious isolation rooms, that there's going to be some sealing that's happening so that things are entrapped and not escaping at all. So how can you give us a little idea on how you create these modular walls that still have a seal, so to speak?
Sure, absolutely. So that's actually the A in STARC. Maybe I should go through the entire acronym. It's telescopic, airtight, reusable containment. So
Wow.
part of the ICRA standard is that it is required to hold negative air pressure. So whenever the walls are deployed, the contractor must be able to pull negative air pressure into the construction environment. So simple idea is when the wall is pulled up, if they open a door, that particulates are being pulled into the construction environment, not being pushed out of the construction environment, potentially emanating down the hall and putting someone that may be receiving care at risk. So our products use a combination of gasketing, floor, wall, ceiling connections. We sell some of our panels. We have negative air panels. We have panels that you can actually attach a device like a manometer, which measures air pressure so that a contractor knows that the environment that he's doing construction in meets that ICRA standard. So again, they were designed and engineered with that rigid standard in mind. And I would love to talk about COVID. One of the biggest moments in the history of STARC is, almost overnight, when you think about an emergency room environment in a hospital that is traditionally using cloth curtains and cloth dividers, the idea that practically overnight hospitals had to create isolation rooms, airtight isolation rooms.
Sure.
Whenever you went online to do a simple search, a lot of those contractors or key healthcare system clients found STARC. So our business practically doubled overnight. One of those moments where the phone is just ringing off the hook, and we're manufacturing product as fast as we can to help healthcare sites basically retrofit away from curtains into isolation rooms. Our reputation really, really gained steam through that. And, we like to say, David, once a contractor or a site or system or key client has used STARC, they tend to not go back to previous or traditional methods in healthcare construction. So it was a pretty incredible moment for STARC, and our reputation has just continued to grow from there.
Who's your competitors?
Single-use drywall
Really?
is
Wow. Okay.
yeah, single-use drywall is still what we are, really trying to overcome daily. There are some smaller competitors in the space that do similar. Companies like Swiftwall operates primarily in the aviation space, large facility retail space. EdgeGuard is a smaller competitor, focuses more in healthcare, but nobody does what STARC can do, from the products that we offer to the environments that we go into, the partnerships that we have with our sales teams, our design teams, our engineering teams. We love to go on site and either work with key clients face to face, work with contractors face to face on complex environments, the most challenging conditions to put up temporary barriers, safe temporary barriers. that's where we want to, that's where we love to engage with our customers, David.
Are you in the temporary barrier space as it relates to worldwide challenges with diasporas and migrations, et cetera?
So we are, in fact, our walls. If you were to go back, I've been at Stark for 4 years. If you were to go back 4 years ago, I mean, the genesis of the company was in healthcare. Right?
Right.
That's where we made our reputation. That's where we demonstrate expertise. If you were to go back 4 years ago, about 90% of our products were deployed in healthcare environments. Today, about 45% of our products are deployed in healthcare environments. And that doesn't mean that healthcare is slowing down for us. The adoption in healthcare continues to grow and grow and
Sure.
grow. It's just that our products are moving into more diverse vertical differentiating ourselves in other verticals and expanding our products into other applications. I mentioned aviation projects, one of our fastest growing verticals, construction and aviation, TSA checkpoints, data centers. We were primarily in renovation. That's where, our target market was, and data centers were actually in new construction, retail environments and hospitality and casinos. So we love to say if the temporary barrier is needed, then we've got a product for whatever the application may be.
Hence the reason why some of the other products that you have, like light barrier, fire block, the walls and the caps, those names sort of conjure up the performance of those particular walls. So you
Sure.
began with, as you said, the real wall, and then you've got others for other situations. Talk a little bit about any of those: stack barrier, fire blocks, light barriers.
Sure, sure. So our second product was light barrier, and really the design emphasis around light barrier is one. It's a lower cost of entry. David, we think of partnering with contractors or sites and systems. Really, it's either project based. There's a very specific project that they're working on that they want to deploy our reusable wall system in, or there are contractors and site systems keys clients that are adopting modular walls as a strategy. If they understand the incredible aesthetics, the economics that go behind it, the experience that they've had with it, says we're ready to move into reusable walls or modular wall systems as a strategy. Well, a lot of those, they want to move into modular walls at a lower entry point, a lower price point. Maybe the work that they're doing doesn't need sound attenuation, which is one of the key points on Real Wall. It's got a 1-inch thick sound attenuating foam core. So in sensitive environments where sound blocking is a requirement, the Real Wall product is the appropriate fit. If that's
Why
not the
would
case,
why would sound blocking be an important thing as it relates to infectious isolation?
sure, it could be in a critical environment like a NICU, right?
Sure.
Yes, yeah. So, and the contractor, they're doing all different types of work, right? In the
They want a Swiss Army knife of everything, right?
exactly right, right, exactly right. Well, sound attenuation when you get into verticals like aviation or verticals like retail, not as big a requirement, as common a requirement as you would find in healthcare.
Sure.
And so this is where light barrier comes in. Same functionality, all of the different parts and pieces and complementary accessories that make this system, this platform, be able to go across any number of different design applications, just at a lower price point. So that's actually light barrier is one of our fastest growing products, especially in the data center space. Fireblock wall, you mentioned that one. Yeah, so we would take questions all the time, David, about do we have a 1 hour rated, which is a requirement in some projects for contractors that the wall, the temporary barrier that they're putting up, actually carries a 1 hour rating. Our other products don't have the true 1 hour rating, so we listen to the voice of the customer, which is at the core of how we design our products, and went and created the only 1 hour reusable wall system on the planet. The replacement for that, the alternative for our Fireblock wall, as you mentioned or I mentioned before, is drywall. It's doing multi-layered drywall is the only other method to be able to put up a 1 hour rated temporary wall. And then stack barrier is our product that if the application requires for the temporary wall to go up to heights of up to 40 feet, where we can be limited by a telescoping product, our stack barrier product can now go, up to heights of 40 feet. So we can build tunnels with it. We can do all kinds of different things with that product, and every one of those, David, are finding their way into every vertical imaginable outside of just healthcare. So.
Well, good. I mean, vertical you're talking about in regards to product niches, but I will say vertical in regards to walls. So I asked you the question about Fireblock Cap. Is that a horizontal system?
So the Fireblock cap, depending on the application, some contractors are required to take a 1 hour rated wall all the way up to the deck, which is basically the floor above. Imagine a healthcare application.
Sure.
You have your acoustical ceiling, and then you have 5 to 6 feet above the acoustical ceiling to get up to the actual deck, the floor above. So depending on the requirement of the project, if it's to go all the way up to the deck in a true 1 hour rated application, we created a cap, which basically allows the contractor to put a lid, a 1 hour rated lid on top of our Fireblock wall product, terminate back into the wall that it is attached to create a 1 hour rated envelope, if you will. So it keeps the contractor from having to do the very costly all the way up to the deck project. So we can save the contractor 5 to 6 feet of potentially them having to build a 1 hour rated wall with our cap products. Again, it's whatever the project requirement is. We've got a solution for it, and the cap is just another example of how we innovate to help solve the challenges of our contracting partners.
Who is your market, who the specifiers of your product?
It really comes down to almost region by region, local by local. They're all different, right? Fireblock it's practically the spec product for 1 hour rated walls in California. The building code requirements in California that contractors are held to, as you can imagine, very, very specific, right? Our product, we love to say, David, that our product, because it meets all the requirements of, rigid, I would say rigid, I guess requirements in construction would be the best. We love to say our products are compliancy out of the box. Those inspectors that come around, right, and work with contractors to make sure they're compliant with California standards, they love our product because it's compliant out of. It's rated. It's a certified product by Intertech Labs. So whenever they see our product on site, they know that they're getting the best available. And again, that contractor that's deploying it is going to be.
Where is it manufactured? Where are the walls manufactured and the caps?
So yeah, so our headquarters is in Brunswick, Maine,
right.
which is it's we actually started, everything is manufactured there. We ship everything out of Maine. In 12 years, David, we've gone from a double wide trailer. Actually, this is great timing. In 6 weeks, we're opening our 100,000 foot production plant in Brunswick, Maine. So
That's great.
Company is growing like crazy. We're very proud of our roots. It's cliche to say, but the culture of this company is incredible, and we're trying to grow this business, but maintain that local Maine feel that's made our company great. But everything right now comes out of Brunswick, Maine.
Well, there isn't a soul living here in the United States that isn't happy to hear about manufacturing still here in the United States. So congratulations.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's a big moment for us. We're doing the ribbon cutting. We're going to do it up big, and we take a tremendous amount of pride in the attrition in our company, David, is just incredibly low. If I were to give you the stat, you would say that's just unbelievable. Most of the employees that we bring into the organization come by referral, which is just a testament to our culture that the people that work in our company, feel so good about their experience with STARC that they want to refer friends or family to come work for us. So maintaining that as we go forward is something that we're certainly going to try to do, because it's culture is tough to it's tough to build it and keep it as you grow and scale. That. So we're going to maintain true to our roots.
Well, in 4 years, you certainly have a wealth of knowledge about the product, which isn't the most simple specification. And I know that as the chief sales officer, and your background I see is other electronic security and consumer services and everything too. Did you have to get up to speed pretty quickly? Probably true of any sales opportunity where you do.
Yeah, sure. I certainly did. One of the things that we love to say, David, is it's a relatively simple product, right? Once you get your hands on the product, you experience the product, deploying it. Like I mentioned before, it's incredibly intuitive, and we want it to be easy to use. There is a misconception that we actually come on site to do installation of our product. We can, if it's the contractor, maybe a first time user. We love to come on, on site and be
Sure.
side by side, with our customers. But the product is designed to be self-installed. So it's a relatively simple product from a concept standpoint. What's not simple is the environment that we sell into. When you think of, different project types across any number of vertical applications and customers that have different or at a different place in adoption of reusable or modular products, it can be an incredibly complex buying environment that we navigate. So that's what it really took the most time to get up to speed on, is understanding our customers and what drives their decision making and how can we best support our customers. I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of our biggest. We talked about, COVID having a big impact on our business. Another big impact moment, which is fueling a lot of our growth right now, was 3 years ago, we entered into a partnership with Sunbelt Rentals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Sunbelt Rentals, which, anybody that's listening to this has most likely heard of or, walked past their products at some point or another. Sunbelt Rentals actually, David, 3 years ago started to create an entire division called temporary walls or temporary barriers, an entire division within their company. That division only uses STARC products. So one of the common questions that we always heard, or one of the common reasons that a customer may not use our product, one is price, and two, I don't have a place to store it. Right. So yeah, as you can imagine, right, especially in in hospitals where storage is maybe a little bit of a premium. Well, the partnership with Sunbelt, it just made complete sense. So we talk about removing the barriers, no pun intended, to adoption of STARC products. So whether you're purchasing STARC products directly through us, or through our you're having STARC deployed through our partner Sunbelt Rentals anywhere across the country, we just want you to adopt the use of our product as a standard. So that relationship is growing like crazy, and it's fueling a lot of our growth.
So I would call up Sunbelt Rentals, and they would say, "We've got real wall. We'll bring it to you. Use it as long as you need, and then we'll pick it back up and store it." Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. Or they can ship it if it's a contractor that may have a lot of experience with STARC. We have incredible relationships with really every blue chip contractor in the US has been a purchaser and user of our product to some degree. A lot of times they're calling Sunbelt, David, and they're actually requesting, just like you said, the product by name. But they don't need Sunbelt to come out and install it. They're experts in how to deploy our product. They just need the material. So Sunbelt can ship it to them, drop ship it to them, whatever quantity they need, or they can actually come out and do the installation themselves. If there's a moment where the contractor determines that it is best for them, whatever it may be, the economics, the project itself, if it's a multi-phase project where they can see redeployment of it over and over and over, they may decide to buy the product. At that time, Sunbelt recommends they re-engage directly with STARC. If our seller happens to get there first and we're looking at a project where it makes perfect sense for them to rent the product, we actually connect them with Sunbelt. So it's an incredibly mutually beneficial relationship between Sunbelt and STARC, our seller and their seller going into the same facility side by side with the goal of just adoption. Let's end the use of single-use drywall and adopt STARC, whether it be purchase and or through rental.
What should I have asked you as we finish this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Where does STARC go next? It's something we ask ourselves all the time. We're seeing rapid adoption of our product. STARC is actually driving behavioral change with top general contractors across the country. So for a small organization like ours to change, to go from the changing of a method to creating a movement, is just an incredible story. And where do we go next from there? We've certainly got some ideas as to what growth avenues look like for us. Maybe we could get into that sometime as well.
Love to do that. I appreciate your time today, Shannon, and wish you nothing but the best luck.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, David. It was great to be here.
The Foundation is produced by Studio Conover and edited by Brett Euler. Studio Conover is a strategic marketing design firm for manufacturers of building products. Visit studioconover.com for more information.